gay-ass name for a gay-ass podcast.
Jimin Moon is on That's a Gay Ass Podcast. Yes, talking about his starring role in the upcoming Heated Rivalry parody musical that is opening off Broadway next month, and a whole other slate of topics. Jimin Moon, how are you dealing with this fame of the Heated Rivalry parody musical? Is life completely different?
It's just like all really going to my head. I've like had to drop a lot of friends who just like weren't on my level, in terms of star power. And I just think that like that's understandable.
A parody musical can do that to someone. And I just want to say that your friends don't matter. What does matter is your career. And I hope that you continue to learn that. But Jimin, you actually have worked on many a big show, and I'm a theater queen. So I do want to get into it. Can I ask you a hard-hitting question just to set us off? You did the workshop of the Black Swan musical, true or false?
True. How do you know that? True.
Because I am a self-described gay journalist. Isn't it? What do you know about the musical? Isn't it like getting made? The movie is such a iconic hit. What's going on with the musical?
The movie's legendary. I did one of the workshops like 2 years ago now. I was involved with it back then, and then it's happening at ART in Boston this summer. Melanie Moore, who's playing Nina, is, I think, actually one of the most talented people I've ever seen in my life. So truly, I mean, the show's incredible. Sonia's choreography is insane. But Melanie, who have been a fan of since I was a teenager and like have geeked out over anytime we've worked together, is giving you one of the craziest like danced acted performances I've ever seen in my life. So
there's discourse about like, movies becoming musicals, but I am less interested in that and more interested in Black Swan on stage. I just, I hope there's a song called "Did You Suck His Cock?"
How did you guess? That's how it opens. It's like a flash forward sequence.
Cock, 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 cock. Yeah. Did you suck his cock? Speaking of cocks, I do want to talk about some horny stuff. We are going to go to Substack at the end of this to have my most hard-hitting gay-ass questions. But since you're on Gay-Ass Podcast, I would love to ask you the famous Gay-Ass Podcast question, which is, whose fault is it that you're gay? Who do we blame, babe?
So I would blame my maternal grandfather, who is dead now. Rest in peace. But he introduced me to Barbra Streisand as a child. And so me watching Barbara as Dolly in the 1969 Hello Dolly film is what turned me gay. Down.
Why do you think your grandfather was so clued into Babs?
He was an Italian kid growing up in the city in the 50s. You know what I mean? And he was a very straight man, but was a really faggy straight man. And so he was like, I have to pass down to this child who I know is going to turn out to be queer as fuck, the lineage of Barbra Streisand. And I said, thank you.
So now I know death is dark, but I want to hear sort of the BTS. When did your grandfather pass away?
My grandfather passed away.
I just want to know how much of your life were you getting this
my
gay
junior
teachings?
Year of college.
Oh shit. Okay, so you had a long journey. Okay, wow. So first of all, so sorry for your loss, but also thank you to your grandfather. Did you call him Grandpa? What were we calling him?
I called him Pops.
So Pops loved Babs, and Pops was giving Italian straight dude who also had good taste. So this is the Italian side of your fam, and then the other side is giving Korean realness, correct?
Yes. Korean teas from the countryside.
We love to hear the duality of Jimin Moon. What would you say were the other gayest qualities of your straight grandfather?
The other gayest qualities of my straight grandfather was that he loved to gossip and he loved to talk about the people that he met on the streets during the day. He loved to utilize language that may have been derogatory for people from, the nurse to the mailman to the person cutting his hair. And I think, gay people have a tradition of also being a little cutting in their language.
Of using slurs. Well, you're obviously piquing my interest. What can you give an example of a word he would use, or would it get you canceled?
I think that, I mean, my favorite one is he loved to say Oriental,
Oh no.
which my dad, who's the Korean one, was always like, that's fine. You can, like, that's what we are. And I would be like, Diva, it's 2015. I was like, it's a little different of a place.
How do you feel about the usage of the word Oriental in the musical Avenue Q? How do you feel about the character of Christmas
Awesome.
Eve?
Awesome. Great. Keep it. Keep it. Avenue Q. Massive pass. Say whatever you want. Thoroughly Modern Millie. Keep those racist Chinese characters down. I love them.
Well, I think what you're speaking to also is like when you encounter either racism or whatever ism it is in like work that's either from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, there is a certain time what's the word I'm looking for? Like time capsule of it all. You're looking at the art created in the time. I think it's like there's so many reasons why like people can get pissed about things that are like not, there are things that don't pass now that did pass then. And so there is a debate about like what, because didn't Thoroughly Modern Millie get like a City Center Encores restaging, and didn't they like try to woke it up a little bit?
Yeah, I think they did it happen, or was it like a COVID?
Oh, maybe it was a canceled COVID thing.
I know that potential, I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything. Potentially there is something happening with it again. And so I'm curious to see what that's going to be, because I love Thoroughly Modern Millie. So
Are you potentially involved with that?
Not potentially involved in it. I'm so sad. I found out about it from friends. I would feel to be potentially involved with it. Let me put that into the universe.
Well, for anybody listening right now who doesn't know the lore of Jimin Moon, you are fully, 15 and a half years old. I'm kidding. You're like, what, in your mid-20s?
Yeah, I'm 25.
And you're 25 and you've done 3 Broadway shows. The reason I met you is because I saw you in Sunset Boulevard, the Nicole Scherzinger Tony-winning revival. You were also in Lempicka, which
talk about
is
a gay-ass show.
I was going to say, and it's like giving Broadway lore because it only ran for a couple of minutes. And then you were also in Aladdin on Broadway as a swing. So you have done 3 Broadway shows by the age of 25. You just did an amazing play in Los Angeles, California called Foursome. And now you are doing the Heated Rivalry parody musical off Broadway.
That's the resume, babe. That's the resume.
I hope you feel accomplished and gorgeous. Do you feel accomplished and gorgeous?
I always feel gorgeous, and I feel very grateful and happy, and I feel content a little bit for like one of the first times in my life in a way that's really nice.
Well, I think it's beautiful that you can be present in that gratitude, because I was listening to your episode of Dads and Daddies, which is a podcast that we love here at Gay Ass Podcast. And you talk so openly about sexuality and horniness. And again, I'm going to talk more about like how your sex life is going now, because we love to be horny here. But before we get into your sex life as a human being over on Substack, there is a very horny show that you are a part of, which is called Heated Rivalry, the unauthorized musical parody. I would like to read from the website. It says it follows starry-eyed golden boy Shane Hollander on his journey from power center to power bottom. Jimin, who are you playing?
I play Shane, and I'm on my journey from power center to power bottom. That's like brilliant copy. I hadn't read that. That's really funny.
It's great copy. And then if you go down the paragraphs, there's a few more things. And then it says, because with love, sometimes it comes when you least expect it, and sometimes it comes hands free. So
fingers crossed.
They're really leaning in. I'll ask if you've come hands free over behind a paywall, just because we want to keep something for the paid girlies. So let's get into it. You started rehearsal recently. How is it going?
Yeah, we officially start rehearsal in about a week, but we did some pre stuff this week that we've been working on.
I see.
Some awesome photo shoot that the girls are gonna gag for. That'll be really funny and horny and silly. It's going great. I mean, I'm so grateful to have been brought on into this. They did a concert run of this show a couple months ago, or about a month ago. And then I was brought in to do it off Broadway, which I'm so thrilled by, and thrilled to follow in the steps of Zach Pizer, who's someone I've like honestly looked up to as like an incredible actor and like Asian American person on Broadway. Where I was like, oh my God, you could do that.
And
And
Zach Pizer is
so
now doing
maybe Happy Ending.
maybe Happy Ending. He's replacing Darren Criss, right?
Yes. Keeping the proud Asian American tradition alive.
Incredible. So we have these gorgeous Asian gays giving us gorgeous performances on and off Broadway. So what has been going on with your DMs? Are people sort of attacking you? I know that the Heated Rivalry boys of the television series are dealing with an insane amount of attention. The parody musical has gotten some attention as well, which we'll get into, but what's happening in your life personally? Have you been receiving mostly positivity? Are you getting any crazy messages? What's going on with the announcement of Heated Rivalry starring Jimin Moon as Shane?
You know, when I found out I booked the gig, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for the announcement because a good Instagram day sounds so lovely right now. They announced it like last week and it was my last week in LA. And I was so busy because I was like trying to like hang out with all my friends and do all the like last minute things I wanted to do in LA before I left. And so I was like, oh, I can't even like enjoy my phone right now. Like I'm just turning it off and like not dealing with it because there's so many people are so wonderful and so kind. And I think like you really get to see when, you know, a show gets announced, I think people are so thrilled for you. And especially something that people love this IP so much that they're so excited by it that it was like, oh my God, yay. It's like so sweet when everyone is so excited and happy for you. And then like you get like the awesome crazy DMs, which make me laugh a lot.
Yeah. Oh, well, so okay, so I did ask that. What have been the flavor of some of these crazy DMs?
Nothing insane. I mean, you know, I think people always have a lot of opinions about what should be made and what shouldn't be made. Which personally I'm like, I'm here to have a great time and I'm not producing it. But I think it should be made because I think that parody one is always a great way to comment on something that's popular in pop culture, and also always just like makes the existing IP an even bigger deal than you even think it's going to be in the first place. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, it's also like it's a sign of how the show is shaping culture or how
completely.
it's influencing like that. I said last week on the podcast talking to Tim Hughes about how what do you think was going to happen? A parody musical was not going to get made about the gay hockey show. Like, welcome to gay people. That's exactly what we do. And I think that the Heated Rivalry fans who are pissed, why do you think they are so pissed? What do you think is underneath it?
I don't know, but I hope you come and have a good time.
I do too, and I think they will.
I think there's like people really feel a lot of ownership over things that they care a lot about and want to make sure things are done in a way that they love and the way that they're excited by. And I think our goal, and you know, to speak at least for myself and from the script and the score, is like this is fucking funny and it's really being done with the people who love the show in mind. Like there's little things in the script that like I didn't even pick up was like a joke, and then our director was like, okay, so actually this is because when you're watching on HBO Max, if you don't turn the subtitles on, then the Russian doesn't come up in subtitles. Then you just think that they're just saying Russian with no words. And I was like, oh, I watch everything with subtitles, so I didn't even think about that because my ears to brain isn't working quickly enough, so I have to read it.
So
I was like, oh, I didn't even know that.
They're doing
so like,
deep cut Heated Rivalry references.
Like these girls care.
So what you're saying is to the fans who are worried that this parody musical is disrespecting the source material, you say what?
I say we are respecting the source material 300 million%. And there is a really dedicated team of creatives behind this project who are doing this because they fucking love it. And they think it's so brilliant. And that's why they're wanting to just like pay their own respects through it, through a really fucking funny, silly 80-minute musical.
I fucking love a parody musical, by the way. I talked last week too that I did the Full House parody musical, and there was a song where DJ Tanner sang about a cum dumpster. And you know what? Where else can you see that than in a grimy off-Broadway New York City theater, Jimin Moon?
Exactly.
Would you say from what you know about the show now, I mean, I know obviously know you've been in early rehearsals, you've obviously auditioned. How will the show make people feel horny when they walk out? Do you think it's going to be like the show and it's like, oh fuck, I need to sit on a face?
You know, I really do hope so. It is my goal to make people when they see me shirtless to feel like they have to sit on a face in general. I would
Yeah,
also say,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's so hard. I have like such a hot co-star in J. Armstrong Johnson, who I was like, obsessed with as a teenager anyways. So now I'm like,
Oh
hi.
my God, yeah. Wait, that must be wild for you to like be
Who I
playing
also adore.
opposite him.
We've been friends for a couple years now. So I texted him when I found out. I was like, bitch, we're about to have the best summer. So
Oh,
there's great chemistry there already, and I just hope that that extends to the audience.
I
And
think
you
it will.
can
I
just
really think it will.
readjust a little
Yeah.
readjust on the sixth floor of the McKittrick Hotel.
Woof, woof, woof. I think it's also going to be impossible for them not to feel that, to see you and Jay Armstrong Johnson. Like, you're going to have to be having some sweaty moments in this show. It wouldn't be a Heated Rivalry musical without you two shirtlessly making out. Is that something that you can confirm will happen in the show?
I think that we do a lot of different. The show really gratefully gifts us a lot of opportunities to show different types of connection and love and physical love. And I think the musical does a really brilliant job of showcasing that in a lot of really ridiculous to sexy ways. So you just have
I'm
to
not,
come and see all the different ways
I'm
that.
just, yeah, I can't wait. I'm also just picturing all the positions that you're speaking of, whether that's a comedic position or just page 42 of the Kama Sutra. Damn. Yeah, no, we got to give it up to musical theater that can sometimes just give us gays everything we want, which is some good choreo, some good music, and some hot boys. Like, that's sometimes what it boils down to.
Yeah, truly.
Oh, and Ryan Redmond, who is a Beltress. So she's going to be giving us.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Everyone, the three. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say what their characters. I think it's on this thing. Whatever. The three Susans are singing down. They are so incredible. I'm so completely like enthralled by them. Their voices are ridiculous. It really gives you everything you want. It gives you everything you'd want in a musical, in a faggy little musical in New York.
So speaking of, let's get like zoomed out for a second. We've talked about some of the inner workings of the show itself. It's been billed as a limited run. Performances start May 12th. What have you been told in terms of like how long the run is?
Officially on the website, you can see the dates.
Okay. Because I think it's like only X amount of weeks, and obviously we pray for extensions and all that. But yeah,
extensions, and right now we're doing 8 weeks, I think.
8 weeks off Broadway. Okay.
Come get your Hummer. Come get your summer horny.
Come get your Hummer sorny.
I've always said that.
and I've always had that. Well, I'm very excited about the heated rivalry of it all. I'm excited about a horny summer. Would you say that outside of the show, are you manifesting a horny summer? Do you think it's going to be mostly horniness on stage, or do you look forward to being off stage as well?
I'm like very much manifesting a celibate summer for myself.
Oh.
I had a lovely time in Los Angeles. I give my props to Los Angeles. What a beautiful city. What a wonderful wealth of experiences it's afforded me. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired.
Are you willing to, for the extended episode, are you willing to answer some of my questions about the wealth of experiences you had in LA?
When you go to Substack, listeners, come to Substack if you would like to hear more about. No, I saw this reel on Instagram that was like leaving. It was like a boy crying on an airplane, and it was like leaving the city where you created an immaculate roster. And I sent it to every single person I met in Los Angeles, and I was like, "This is me leaving this town because I had the best time."
Is there a world that you would take a pause on your Broadway New Yorkness and move to LA? Or are you like, no, I'm a New Yorker?
Down. Anyone wants me to be in LA, let me know. I'm there.
Okay.
I
Okay,
loved
yeah,
it.
because
Oh my God. Having a
your
car,
roster is waiting for you.
you guys having a car, driving to Trader Joe's. Like, this is shit that like I didn't even think about. I didn't
Well,
even like,
it's crazy to go from New York to LA and then get in the car and then realize that you can belt to whatever song you want to and not have to worry about a subway of people.
that part too.
Are you belting to show tunes when you're driving a
Oh,
vehicle, or are
down. I mean, I
which cast recordings are we finding that are sitting on our register so well in a Toyota Prius?
I got to give one of my best friends in LA a complete tour of Bear, a Pop Opera, the 2000 album that is split
No
up into
joke.
two parts.
I've just been listening to that again as well.
Good.
Literally.
Good. I literally did this last weekend. We were driving from LA to San Francisco because I was flying out of San Francisco to come back to New York. And we were in the car for like, 6 hours. And I was like, wait, babe, you don't know Bear. And I need to strap you down. This boy, an architect, not involved in theater. And I was like, you will learn how integral this was to me and how me at 15, sobbing, singing Role of a Lifetime in my garage, wasn't in love with a straight boy at
Love a
all.
lifetime living a man. It is so good. The rule of a lifetime. Are you there? The harmonies and Are You There? Are you joking?
It is actually one of the most genius pieces
What
of
about
writing.
the priest scene? You went to you for guidance
You hid behind a screen.
behind a screen. Oh my god.
Oh,
No,
I was in the car crying.
weeping. No, that I will say some of the scripted the book scenes on the album, I will say give a devastating community theater. And I shouldn't be saying that because I'm sure the person who wrote that is someone I've probably like met with or slept with. But yeah, but also it was a product of its time. And the music fucking slaps. Shout out Barra Pop Opera. Shout out to Cars. Shout out to singing in said cars.
Down.
And it really is such a freedom for a gay or a girly to be able to belt while driving to Trader Joe's. It is a beautiful tradition that our ancestors have been doing.
I would say it's a right that we hold to belt in the car. And you don't get to do that in New York.
You
Not unless you
really
have your
don't,
car,
Jimin.
girl. You know
You
what I mean?
really don't.
Or you have that
No,
one
I
person
know.
who has a car who wants to drive to Reese that day, and you said, "Oh, now we're in. Put Legally Blonde on, girl."
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Legally Blonde as well. I've been getting recently into bringing back Aida. I think that is always a cast recording that slaps. If I'm feeling sad, I'll go to Waitress. Lately, I know, and it's just a beautiful time to be gay in a car. It's also a beautiful time for you, Jimin, to get into some of your design girliness. Chains by Jimin. You are a business owneress. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm utilizing my certificate in business from the Smeal College of Business at Penn State to begin my entrepreneurial journey. Yeah, I've been making chains. I'm having a blast with it. I paid my rent for the last couple months I was in New York with it, which was so thrilling.
Wait, that's like
gay guys.
next level. Yeah, because usually when someone starts a business, it's like no, it's giving sunk costs, it's giving like investment, but you have been able to make some coin. What would you say if someone's like, wait, Jimin makes chains? What are they? What's the vibe? What's your like answer to you buy these chains because you're into blank, or you're like what's the vibe?
You buy these chains because you want something fucking hot for the club. You want something that someone can really grab onto and it's not going to snap. It's not going to break. You want something you saw Pillion and you said, give me one of those. You want something that's going to edge up your look for a carpet. You want something that is just going to be a little, right here. You want a little thing for your bag. You want to make your bag
Love.
drop a little cunty so that your labubu looks a little bit more edgy with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's really for any and all purposes. And ultimately, it's because I have a great time doing it. And I wear chains all the time. I mean, me not wearing a chain right now, but I wear chains all the time. I got really into wearing stuff to the club. And then I was like, oh, I had a little time on my hands. I can do this. I had a spare bedroom in my apartment. And I was like, this is turning into my workshop. I made a full like Joan of Arc bra, little panty set, like chain kind of vibe for my friend for Halloween. And then was like, wait, I should start selling this because people wanted them and I had a blast. I took a little break while I was in LA because I didn't have any of my stuff with me. But now I'm back and we're getting right back into it, girls.
I love that for you so much because I think it's hard as an actor and as a creative person. Like if you're like waiting for a job, you don't seem to have too much of a problem of time between jobs. But I think that it's so exciting to sort of take control over your own creativity at times.
Totally.
And it seems like even though like obviously we love to celebrate the horniness of them, it's also like a real thing that takes time and energy to devote into it. And have you always had the designer eye? Were you watching Project Runway? What is your history as that sort of gay person?
You know, I would say that I was actually probably like a pretty tragic design-minded person for a lot of my life. I mean, I thought I was tearing, but I don't know if other people would say that. I was not really like a Project Runaway girl or any of that kind of thing, but my best friends, whose super high ceiling apartment this is that we are in right now, are incredible costume designers. James and AC, they just designed a bunch of stuff for Chapel's last tour. They're phenomenal. And when we became best friends, they really opened my eyes to what is chic and what we could do with our hands to make that happen. And so I think that like that was a massive inspiration to me then being like, oh, I trust my eye now that it's been refined a lot by these people who have a, universally lauded brilliant eye.
So you're saying you were not born with the gay gene of having gorgeous fashion taste like I was not born with gorgeous fashion, and I still don't have it. I luckily married someone who has gorgeous taste, but
And that's a smart way to do it.
I think so. I just have to ask for permission to leave my home, not because he's keeping me captive, but because he has to make sure I have to ask just to make sure I look okay. Because I'm getting a little better, but it's really hard to be a gay guy without fashion sense. I have to say,
it is hard. I was my first day of middle school. To make it clear how little fashion sense I had. My first day of middle school, I wore top down a gray checkered fedora with a big button that said, I can't, I have rehearsal, to make it clear to the girls that I couldn't because I had rehearsal.
Right.
My like big Harry Potter glasses, not that we support J.K. Rowling, but I was 13. And then a Billy Elliot t-shirt, a light blue, like short sleeve button down, but I buttoned half the buttons in the back because I liked when it looked like it was like being swooshed behind me. So it was kind of giving almost like one of those little shrugs, but then also there was a panel in the back. Bright blue jeggings that I had gotten from a play I had done that summer, but it was not jeans. They were jeggings that were bright blue. And then I think I was wearing like bright green Adidas or something like that. So it was like every color you could want, messaging about rehearsal. I was a very serious actor at the time. And I did show up to my first day of middle school wearing that, being like, well, this is the cuntest anyone has ever looked. And everyone in middle school is gonna be like, that kid is so cool for having rehearsal and loving Billy Elliot. And I stand by it. I stand by it.
I think what I stand by is that you were a girl with a dream and a creative expression, and you said, watch this, I'm going to express. However, you might have maybe missed a mark, but you were still expressing. I was just like giving like, please don't look at me, I'm gonna wear baggy khakis and a polo shirt at my high school because I just wanted to like blend in. I never had the confidence to even say I can't, I have rehearsal. So
here's the thing, you were just ahead of the game because a baggy khaki and a polo is like what I want to wear now.
Well, the irony is that if I wear those now, I look even worse than I normally. Me in a baggy pant
I'm sure you look chic.
I mean, I don't know. When you're like if you're a tall, gangly Jew like me, I feel like a baggy pant is not exactly what fits the bill. But maybe one day we'll be like in a closet and you'll be like, try this. And then you can give me my like Gen Z Andy Sachs moment where you sort of like dress me to.
We'll give you your Gen Z fantasy down. I got you, babe.
Wait, that's actually a genius idea. And I would love for one day for you to dress me Gen Z. So I think we're gonna have to do that.
Visual episode.
Oh wait, so now I want to take us to, let's talk about the sort of our generational differences here. So I am giving millennial, born in 89. You are giving 25, Gen Z, queer as hell, open to talking about horny shit, but also about like mental health stuff. What would you say though is, zoomed out, the biggest difference that you have found between like you as a queer Gen Z person and me as a millennial? Would you say you had an easier time in high school than you imagine I would have? Would you say like where does our trauma show up differently? Do you have any sort of like gut reaction about the Gen Z of it all as a queer person versus the older folk?
I mean, I think me and one of my best friends who's my age talk about this all the time, where I think we grew up in a generation where like I came out when I was 13 and it was like not deep at all. Like I was a little bit nervous because my dad grew up like in the countryside of Korea and like didn't know what gay was. But he was like, okay, chill. And so like I like never had, I was really, really lucky in that I had extremely supportive parents who like were ultimately like, I don't really give a shit, live your life. I got on PrEP at 17 because my mom took me to my doctor's office and was like, you are going to have sex. I was already having sex, but I was going to have sex officially. She was like, you will be on PrEP because I want you to live your life and not get HIV. And so like to showcase that, to utilize that as an example of like how I grew up, you know what I mean? And then as I've, met so many like wonderful people and have had like so many great, not elders, but people who are of an age that is higher than mine.
Yeah.
Like really taught me a lot. It's just like, I think that is like really maybe the biggest difference between is like, I grew up not really having to fight to be allowed to be gay. And if anything, it was almost celebrated, especially growing up as like a kid in the theater. Like all the like older cool girls wanted to be my friend because I was like the little like cunty, faggy little boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also like I think the big difference of like growing up with PrEP, like sex was never something that was that there was all the normal fears of sex. And it was like, oh no, like, am I gonna paint someone? You know what I mean? But it wasn't like, oh no, if I do this, could I potentially get this thing that could
kill me,
completely change my life and or kill me?
Yeah. So, well, you're probably one of the first people, you're in the first sort of groupings of queer people who essentially grew up with PrEP sexually. I know you said that like you were having sex before you were on it, but still like 17 is an incredibly young age for all intents and purposes to be on a medication that's like completely changing your mindset towards sex. Because I often talk about how my relationship to sex was completely based in fear and shame, and it's why I did not explore really that much sexually in my early 20s. And I'm sort of like figuring out things now in a much different headspace. But it's amazing that you had that experience. And I don't think anybody listening would ever be like, angry or resentful. Obviously there's going to be a healthy jealousy for people in, my age group and higher, because you don't seem to be walking around with the same either shame or fear that we have. But obviously you're still a human being that is living in a society that is still super straight, so you're not immune to that. But I do feel that from you, this difference of like not wondering if your value is different because you are queer. That's like a very positive thing about what prep has done and what parents like yours can do. I mean, I got a little teary even when you said like it wasn't a big deal, and that your mom took you to that doctor appointment because she wanted you to be protected and healthy and happy. I mean, you've got good parents. And
I have the best parents in the world. I couldn't say better things about them. And they have 2 gay kids, and they are tearing.
Who is the other gay kid in your family?
It's me and my brother. There's 2 of us, and he's also
Holy
gay.
shit. I always love to hear about gay siblings. Is this a younger or an older brother?
He's younger. He's 21.
Stop it. Again, shout out to your parents, and what an iconic family, the Moons.
Truly, truly an iconic family. I love them.
Is your brother also a performer or in the arts, or is he going down a different path?
He's on a different path. He's 21. He's figuring his shit out, which is awesome. We've like gotten a lot. We got really, really close after he came out. And it's been like, so like for his 21st birthday, I took him to Basement here in the city to go out, because he was like, all I want is to like go out with you and dance the night away. And he like thrashed for like 7 hours straight. It was so impressive. It was like 7 a.m. and I was like, okay, I could like go and like sit on a couch. And he was like, no. And I was like, we were staying till the lights come up. And I was like, oh, I love it.
And that is on youth, because that
was one of those ones where I was like, oh, okay, there is a generation below me. I am not 22 and fresh to the city anymore. Right.
Exactly. Right. And with every day that marches on, you will find that we are getting closer and closer to death. And that's just living, babe.
There's an optimistic nihilism to it. You know what I mean? We could die at any point.
I agree.
Nothing matters. So then nothing matters. Have fun.
So let's go dance at Basement, and let's wear our chains, and let's do the Heated Rivalry parody musicals, and let's just fucking thrash. I love to hear about your gay ass family. I love to hear about your incredible grandpa, your parents, your it
was a very family-centric conversation today.
I know. I didn't even think it was going to be so family-y, but like I just, love to be able to talk with people across the spectrum, sure, like queer wise, but also age wise. And so I hope you don't feel like I'm like doing like a, hey, what's it like to be young? But like it's really interesting to me.
I love to talk about it.
Yeah. Wait, so speaking of, the final thing that it's a little horny, and then we'll go over to Substack. You talked about on Dads and Daddies, you essentially met a friend / hookup person through their podcast. Will you give us just the elevator pitch of, it was basically like a guy that's older than you. He posted about you, but then you saw him on, I'm doing a bad job of explaining it, but like, can you explain how Dads and Daddies got you dick?
Totally. I mean, I think me and one of my friends were obsessed with Dads and Daddies. We thought it was so fun to listen to. And I learned some things I really took with me from the podcast. And then this guy was on an episode, and we had like DM'd lightly beforehand. And then I'd been like, OMG, you're on this episode. I love this podcast. And that led to me getting dick. Thank you, Brian and Judson.
Thank you, Brian and Judson. If anybody hasn't heard my episode of Dads and Daddies, I am obsessed with them. Love doing it. They've done this podcast. And yeah, you and, is his name Will?
Yeah.
You and Will had a great episode, and he is very hot as well. And just love to see gay podcasts spreading dick. I mean, what a beautiful sentiment.
Truly, truly, truly. What else could They do so
Nothing
much
more to
good.
say.
There's so much.
They do.
So much good in the world.
Well, listen, we're going to head over to Substack, but before we do so, I'm going to ask you the final podcast question, Jimin Moon, which is, if the world was ending, you could only save one character actress, who would you save?
You know, right now, and actually maybe kind of forever, Beth Level. Down. I was literally actually last night, I was showing some friends some clips from Lempicka from like one of like the slime tutorials that's up, because they were like, oh wait, we actually never saw it. Like, what was that tea like? And Beth, love her so much. What a kind woman, what a talented woman, what a legendary woman. And I was reminded of her brilliance in that show, and I was like, oh my God. And I think she's doing a play right now.
She is, with Matt Doyle. That looks so funny.
Yes, When Playwrights Kill.
Yeah. No, I've seen some of the clips, and she is a genius.
I just saw it today and I laughed out loud. She's fucking awesome.
Oh my God, she's incredible. The first Broadway show I ever saw was The Drowsy Chaperone, with her as the Drowsy Chaperone. And I have a picture with her. I got to show her the photo when I had her on the podcast. I think she is a character actress beyond worth saving. She is one of the greats, and the fact that you got to do a fucking original Broadway cast with her is absolutely insane. And it's a perfect answer, Jimin Moon. Will you please tell these listeners where to follow you and when to check you out in Heated Rivalry off Broadway?
Totally. So you can find me on Instagram at Jimin M Moon. You can follow my Chains account at Chains by Jimin. And then Heated Rivalry musical, Heated Rivalry parody or something is the Instagram account for the Heated Rivalry, an unauthorized musical parody. We'll be running at the former McKittrick Hotel in Chelsea starting May 12th.
Hell, yeah. No, May 12th is what I have written as well.
Yes,
so,
I was right. I love a calendar.
Check out Jimin, check out J. Armstrong Johnson and the incredible cast. It is going to be so delicious and sweaty and gay-y and hockey. Stay gay, stay fab. And Jimin, we're going to Substack. Everybody else, I'll see you there for some horny questions. Love you.
Mwah. See you on Substack.
That's a gay-ass name for a gay-ass podcast.